this is our offer, and we're not going to move off that offer. And you're also going to come back to us if you get someone else that gives us a higher offer. And, well, what I said to this one is, let's move in. Let's move into real estate. So I've just finished my 10th auction for the day. And out of the 10 auctions, we had 7 that sold. Now, that's a pretty good result. Basic mathematics, 7 out of 10, that's 70%. That's right, 70% today, which is saying to me 2 things. Number one, that there is settling and normality coming into the market. And let me tell you, the best vendor manager in real estate at the moment is the media. They've done the work, and they're doing the work. Because every time I walk into a property, the first thing I ask is, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, what's your understanding of the current market? 9 out of 10 vendors say to me, we know it's hard. And we know it's getting harder. And for that reason, you're getting vendors that are either giving you reserves that are realistic, or they're giving you optimistic reserves with a fallback number, which is normally good enough to sell a property. So they're adjusting their reserves. And my friends, I can think right now, after a couple of weeks of okay results, that there is a settling in the market and people are accepting these are the new values. The real question, of course, is going to be what's going to happen in September, October, November as the market appraisals start lining up now as we end the winter and we move into our spring selling season, which sees an upswing in listings. So what's going to happen then? And that's a $64 million question. But one would assume more listings should see a softening of prices. But the softening's already happened. I've said it before, there's a data lag that economists are missing by about 3-4 months. The market has already been repositioned in most areas by 10%, even 15%. Some markets, even 20%. But realistically, we're probably going to see a further softening of around 5-10%. If you were to look at a clock and you're turning around and looking at that downturn, I think we're at number 5. We're close to the bottom. We're close to the bottom, I think. Now, a couple of other things I want to let you know. Every time there is a rate rise that equates to 1%, it basically means borrowers get 10% less from their bank. So if you get a 2% increase in interest rates, you're roughly looking at approximately a 20% drop in borrowing availability for a buyer from a bank. This is an important number because what it's basically telling us is that if rates keep going up at the speed that they're going up at the moment, that buyers are going to have less money. And that's why I think right now, there's a few buyers that are rushing in and snapping up property because they've sat down with their mortgage broker. And their mortgage broker has basically said to them, listen, you know, there's 2 sides to this. Yes, there might be a further dropping of prices, but since they've already dropped and you've got this loan approved right now, use it, secure a home that you like. And even if you haven't bought at the bottom, you're keeping it for the next 5-10 years, like it's going to get amortized over the next 5-10 years. But if you don't buy right now, guess what happens? You might not have the same amount of money out in the marketplace because you're going to be re-rated by the banks based on that statistic that I've just given you. So, couple of other things. Few buyers today could have bought absolute really good buys. But what they did is they were trying to steal it off the vendor at a very low price. And trust me, I'm letting you know, there will not be a buyer stealing a property if I'm representing that vendor. So what do? I actually send the buyer away and I say, you know what? Listen, you've got an opportunity to buy it. We're being reasonable in our discussions with you. If you're not prepared to actually come up a bit, I want to let you know that we can now terminate our conversation. And then one of the buyers said, but will you ring me back if you get a higher offer? Will you ring me back if you get a higher offer? this was my response. Sir, what I'd like to say is right now, you've got an opportunity to give us your best and final offer. We will take it to our vendor who's sitting in the living room. If they say yes, you've bought yourself a home. If they say no, you can go home knowing you've given it your best shot. But if you think you're going to give us an offer and then you're going to wait till we get other offers from other people and then ring you back, it's not going to happen. And I've got to say, every real estate agent out there, you need to defend your vendors like a German shepherd defends their owners. We get paid by vendors to do the best thing. We get paid by vendors to do the best thing by them. Very nice. An agent was coming over to give me a bottle of water. It was very kind of him. Hey, Peter, thank you. I'm just doing a market wrap. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. So, gang, we get paid by our vendors, and I need to drink water. Hydration, hydration, hydration. We get paid by vendors to get them the best price. We get paid by vendors for our negotiation ability. We get paid by vendors to make sure that we get every dollar that's out there in the marketplace. Now, I've got to say to you, either you're going to take control of the negotiation, or if you're going to have a buyer that's going to say, this is our offer, and we're not going to move off that offer, and you're also going to come back to us if you get someone else that gives us a higher offer. And, well, what I said to this one is, well, if you're telling me that's your last and final offer, what benefit is there to come back to you to tell you about a higher offer? And that suggests to me that maybe this is not your last and final offer. And what I'm going to say to you is go in with your best offer right now, my friends. And if we can see that the vendor is open to it, we're going to try and get this property for you. But I've got to tell you, you know what I do? If I ever have a buyer that is absolutely trying to take advantage of a vulnerable vendor, you know what I do? I actually tell the buyer, thank you for that offer. I'm going to take it to the owner, but I'm actually going to recommend that they probably should hold off from accepting it, because I think that there's a very high probability that we're going to get more than that later on next week. So maybe what you should do is start thinking about what your next offer should be, because I'd love to go in and see our owners and tell them we think you should take it. And unfortunately, the number you've given me is not giving me enough reasons to go in and tell the owner to accept your offer. Guys and girls, if there's one skill that I need you to step up in these changing times, is your ability to negotiate. At the end of the day, the difference in the result, a good negotiator with good marketing versus a bad negotiator with bad marketing, is 10%. Mark Saleh knows that. It's 10%. So a good agent with good negotiation, good marketing will get you 10%. Some people tell me the number could be 15% or 20%. I think as a minimum it's 10%. And that's why I always say to people, don't be afraid when you go to a listing presentation to stick to your guns, stick to your fee, and go at the upper end. Because I've got to tell you, if you think hiring a professional is expensive, wait till you hire an amateur. Because the most expensive thing we have in real estate is having a hot buyer in front of a bad agent. That gets really expensive. Guys and girls, signing off on this Saturday afternoon on a week that I haven't had for many in the last few months, 70% clearance rate. Ciao.